Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are getting this webinar started. Thanks so much for joining us. Happy Earth Day, happy Earth Month. We are, as you just heard, we are recording this, just so you know. We cannot see you or hear you, and you won't be able to see or hear each other, but you can chat us. We can see your chats, and we'll read them aloud when you chat us and share out. So just feel free to say hi. We would love to hear from you. I see an Allison saying hello. I am joined here with my friend and coworker Haley today. Hey, Haley.
Hello.
Thanks so much for joining us. So Haley's going to be chatting with us today. We also have Miss Emma. She will be off camera, but is going to be chatting with us as well. She'll be responding to your chats and things like that. I'm seeing more people say, Aiden saying hello, Emily saying hello. Oh, I'm so glad you all are joining us. Miss Walker's elementary class, Miss Law's class from Walker Elementary, Miss Law's class. Thank you so much. And just to let you know, we may be having, if people are joining or you know people that were going to be joining us and watching on Facebook, we may be live streaming to Facebook. If they aren't able to see us, they can also, will be showing a link where they can join us via Facebook onto Zoom, if that makes sense. And I'm seeing more hellos here. Edward saying hello, Isabella, Jax, Veronica from Miss May's class, and Palmdale. So glad to hear Palmdale's visiting us again. All right, so let's get started, shall we? Just a reminder that we are recording this, so we can't hear you, we can't see you, and you guys aren't going to be able to hear or see each other. You can chat to us and we'll share out what you chat as well, but you won't be able to see each other's chats, and that just helps us all be able to concentrate and focus and have fun. I'm seeing also a hello from Willow Elementary. Oh, so many great hellos. Thank you guys. Thanks so much for joining us. So what are we talking about today? Why are we here today? We are here because it's Earth Month. Yay! Woo! Let's celebrate for Earth. So what does that mean? Earth Month's just kind of a chance to step back and think about the Earth. If we're not always doing it, put it at the front of our minds. Think about how we can help keep the Earth healthy, what we can do for the Earth. So it's kind of hard to think about, like, what do you get as a present for the Earth to celebrate Earth? Like, what do you get the Earth that has everything, right? So do you get some socks, a skateboard, maybe a candle? We would love to know what you guys think. So maybe talk with your classmates or talk with whoever's with you, or if you're by yourself, just chat to us. But we'd love for you guys to share in the chat. What present would you get for Earth? Or maybe what present have you already gone for Earth? Have you already done something nice for Earth? Have you already given something to Earth? We would love to know. So go ahead and throw that in the chat and let us know, what do you think it would be nice to give to Earth for a celebration of Earth?
Ooh, a birdhouse.
I like
Super
that.
Cool. I like that. I'm
Is,
sure the birds in your yard or in your park or at your school would really love that.
yeah. Oh, a Barbie. I'm seeing a Barbie, a trash pickup, a party, a skateboard.
Plant a tree.
I love that. Yeah. Clean up. Grow more gardens. Ooh, very fun. These are very creative ideas.
Yeah.
I love that. Recycle is a big one. Plant a tree. Those are all very fun and wonderful things to do. So thank you all for sharing. Some of the things you all talked about. Oh, recycle cardboard boxes. Okay, I'm getting distracted by all these great things popping up in the chat. So one of the things you can do, and a lot of you shared this, kind of like what you would do for the person that has everything, you can do a thoughtful action. So maybe not even get something, but do something nice for the Earth, like plant a tree, recycle cardboard boxes, grow more veggies. Here on the screen right now, we actually have this really cool thing from our friends at Climate Science Alliance called Climate Kids in Action, 10 things I can do for the earth. And we'll share a link to this in the chat. They have all sorts of resources for ways to learn about how to help the earth and how climate change is affecting our earth. But let's go through these. We can use less electricity. We can save water, so maybe taking shorter showers, turning off the water when we brush our teeth, recycle, pick up trash, which I also see Isabella just shared in the chat. We could walk or we could ride a bike. We can choose reusable bags and water bottles, eat our veggies, which somebody mentioned, grow a vegetable garden. So eat more veggies instead of meat, grow plants for bees, butterflies, and birds, have a garden, which would be great for schools could do that as a school project to have a pollinator garden. Some people are really lucky to have that at their schools. Number 9 is read more about climate change and share what you learn. So that link to Climate Science Alliance is a great place to start learning about climate change and what you can do to help the earth. And start an earth-friendly project with your friends and family, or maybe even your class. And this is one of my favorite ones. This is really what we're going to focus on today, is how we can do earth-friendly projects by ourselves or with others. So what are earth-friendly projects? And a lot of you guys were already sharing those. Trash cleanup, planting your gardens, just sharing with your friends and family how they can help is perfect. So another thing you can do is something called a restoration event. You can take part in it. You can join one. You don't have to do it on your own. It's something other people around San Diego and all around California and really around the world, people are doing that all the time. And so what is a restoration event? Well, some of you already talked about some examples, which would be planting plants that help the earth and help pollinators. Basically, when we're doing habitat restoration, we're just helping damaged areas of earth get better. So this can include planting plants that belong somewhere, collecting seeds for planting other places, cleaning up areas to then plant is all part of it. Let's look at an example of habitat restoration that actually happened. This is San Diego County. This is right where the border here, called an area called Otay. And this picture you see on the left here in 2012, this area had been really all cut down and people were using it. So none of the plants that had been there, you can see there are only a couple little bushes and kind of tree-y things still here, but pretty much it's all gone and clear. So this took away all sorts of homes for animals and a lot of like birds that would be found here that need bushes, small little mammals that like to hide away under bushes and trees for safety, and also eat these plants for food. And then also the bigger animals that eat those animals, they had no food, so it really cleared out a lot. So people decided we really need to help this area. So they planted all these plants. You see them here on the left. And then 2 years later, look at how lush and green it is. All these plants came back, which is pretty amazing how quickly it happened. This area gets a lot of water. It's right in a riverbed. So this isn't super normal for Southern California for things to grow this fast, but right here is a sweet spot. So we actually have a poll. We want to get your opinion. Do you think planting all these trees, these plants and shrubs would be good for birds and other animals? So let's see here. Let me share the poll. Do you think it would be planting plants, trees, and shrubs would be good for birds and other animals, bad, or not make a difference? What do you think? And we're seeing a lot of people saying good, which is cool to see. Yeah, still a lot of people saying good. Oh, this is great. I'm so glad to see this. I'll take another minute to let you guys put your answers in, or talk with your class and put your answers in. You could throw it in the chat too, or you can just respond on the poll but I'm seeing it 100%. It's saying good. So these people are on it. We've got a great group today, huh?
And maybe let us know why you think it might be good in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
That might be interesting to see why you think it might help.
Totally. I would love to see that. If you all have any thoughts about what all these plants are doing, bringing back the plants. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And share the results. So 100% said good, which is totally right on. You guys know exactly what what we're talking about here. And I see people saying the earth needs trees. They're good for the air. So the animals have a home. You guys are all right on with your reasons. I love this. And if you are interested in taking part in helping restore, this is the sort of thing where restoration events, you will just go out and help plant all these plants, and you can look and see what you did and come back years later and see all these plants that have grown in. We're going to share some resources in the chat where you can look for events in San Diego County. A lot of our partners do these great programs, but also if you just Google search restoration project and or restoration volunteer near me, a lot of times you'll get a whole list of events. That's great. So if you're not in the San Diego area, ooh, I love, somebody said it'd be really good for birds to make nests, to have somewhere to make nests, which is so true. They definitely need areas to make nests.
And they need things to make nests with, right? I've been seeing a lot of birds flying by with little twigs in their mouths lately.
Yeah, yeah, they're getting ready. And something that actually is really exciting that happened in this area is this endangered bird. So this bird that wasn't found here anymore, people had been wanting to see it. It returned to this area. They planted all the trees and this bird came back, and it's called the Least-Bell's vireo. It's on the endangered species list, which means there aren't a lot of them left in San Diego. So we want to protect them. And in addition to this bird, a whole bunch of other birds returned. So it's a really healthy, happy area now. But the question is, how do we know that this bird came back? Like, how do we know that? Do we just know that? And it's kind of one of those things that you don't really think about a lot, but it's something that we at the museum have to think about a lot at the Natural History Museum, because it's something our researchers do, is they're keeping track of all of these animals and plants and where they're found, and when they go missing. So somebody's out there actually going, observing, waiting, looking around, and counting all the different birds and making a note of all the different birds that they see in an area, or sometimes it's all the plants they see, or sometimes it's all the mammals they see. And if you can imagine how big San Diego is, that's a lot of work. It takes a lot of people, and we actually really need your help. We need people's help with this, which is what we call community science. So community science, sometimes you'll hear citizen science, or just people helping science, people adding to science, and helping scientists in general too. And everybody can do it. You don't need any sort of training or a formal background. You all can take part. There's an example of, it takes all sorts of different forms. So it isn't just counting animals. You can even help identify galaxies. Go online, look at pictures, pictures that people have never seen before. They're just going into a computer and you're getting to see them and say, wow, okay, I think that's a galaxy, and identify it, which is super cool. It's a project called Galaxy Zoo on Zooniverse. Zooniverse is a place, and we'll share a link to that, where you can search for all sorts of projects to take part in just from the comfort of your own home. So for example, we could travel to Kenya and take part in Wildlife Watch Kenya and help the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. You can travel to Africa without ever looking at home. You look at photos of wildlife and help identify and count what you're seeing. So they have all these cameras set up that are taking photos, and you're going to go through them and help identify, that's a giraffe, or that's a jackal, all sorts of different animals that are popping up. And they help you. They give you guides on what you're going to see. And there are so many photos to sort through that the researchers couldn't possibly see them all themselves, those scientists. So your help makes a huge difference. And if you wanted to do something closer to home, if you're in San Diego, you could also do burrowing wildlife watch for burrowing owls. So burrowing owls are these adorable little owls we see here in the picture. Haley and I both have quite a fondness for these guys. And I bet if you take part in this project where you're helping document what they're doing, how many burrowing owls are in these pictures, what they're eating, what time they're out and about, if anybody's visiting them, you just look at pictures and you do that. And you classify that and you count them. It helps us better understand what these little animals need to survive and be healthy, because they're also threatened in San Diego. There aren't a lot of them left, and the San Diego Zoo is trying to help them to be healthy. Same with giraffes in Africa. Certain giraffes are not doing so well and they need our help. So we have to learn more about how they live in order to be able to help them. There's also projects that, if maybe you are more into medicine, or think maybe you want to be a doctor or a nurse, you can help medicine by participating. There's a program called Stall Catchers where you're actually playing a game to help scientists better understand brain health. So that's sounds kind of weird, but it's actually kind of a fun game. And then you're helping science, which is just a bonus. So something I mentioned is community science or citizen science. This whole month of April, it's not only Earth Month, it's also Community and Citizen Science Month. So it's a great way to give back to the Earth, is to take part in a community science project. And as I mentioned, there are all sorts of projects you can take part in. The way we do it at the museum is we have people make observations of wild plants and animals, and they share them with us and other people across the world. And we use an app and a website called iNaturalist, which I'll share a little bit more. And we have all sorts of tutorials on that as well. So let's look at an example of how people went out and counted wildlife and how this helped science and us better understand our world. Here on the left, you're seeing just an example of all of these butterflies, these flying insects. And folks in Germany, not too many years ago, started to notice when they were driving, they weren't getting as many insects on their windshield. They're wondering, where are all these insects going? What's happening to them? So they actually went and talked with people who had been counting all these insects for quite a while and just had records and records of all these insects. How many insects were found? What insects were found where? And that's a lot of what museums do as well. And then they went out and they counted insects as they currently were, and they noticed that there were a lot less insects than there used to be. So they actually went from this huge amount of insects on the left here to something like this. They went from a big number to like a really small number, less than half, which is really kind of startling to see. And another example of people helping out and why we're counting all this stuff, because it's kind of like, why are you counting insects, right? Are you just weird and you want to count insects? You like insects? A lot of people aren't super into insects, especially if they're flying at their face. This is an example of a before and after from a fire. So up top's the before, the bottom is the after. And understanding what is found where. So counting, for example, all the insects somewhere or all the plants in this picture, for example, it's kind of like taking a picture in time. So if we know what is when, where, and something extreme like a fire comes through and we lose everything there, if we hadn't have taken a picture of it and documented all the plants that were there, all the animals that were there, we wouldn't know what we lost after the fire. So if we wanted to come in and plant things and make the earth healthy again, we wouldn't know what to plant if somebody hadn't made a list. And I know a lot of times people are like, okay, but I still don't like insects. So just to say, flying insects, I understand it's not fun when they're flying at your face, but without insects, we wouldn't have all sorts of really important things, like most of the food we eat. including cherries and apples and chocolate covered almonds, which are one of my favorites personally. So we need insects real bad. They help keep our earth very healthy, and they do a lot for us. So we can do something for them too, right? And it's not just adults that are going out and discovering these things and helping scientists. People your age, young folks do it as well. And so we actually had summer campers here at the NAT, the San Diego Natural History Museum. They started noticing all these green lizards, which you can see a picture of here around the park. And they're really bright and they're green and they stick out because most of the lizards here are really brown and they kind of camouflage in. So they don't stick out from the background they're in. And they started investigating this and documenting all these different lizards that they were finding in Balboa Park, where the summer camp is, and they were using iNaturalist and sharing them there. And the museum's scientists were like, whoa, what's going on with these lizards these kids are sharing with us? So they went, the museum researchers went and they had the students map all the lizards that they found. They looked back in previous years to say, hey, where did these lizards come from? And there weren't any records of them. So these lizards they found, the students noticed, are totally new to Balboa Park, new to San Diego. They hadn't been here before. And that's important to know because sometimes new plants and animals in an area can affect the plants and animals that are already there and make things unhealthy for the earth and everything living there. So we have to keep track of them and know, okay, let's keep an eye on these guys called green anole lizards. Let's watch what they're doing. Let's make sure they're not disrupting things for the animals that are already here. And so this is just one example of what we do at the San Diego Natural History Museum. We were founded by community scientists almost 150 years ago, a really long time ago, and it's still a big part of what we do, and you can help us do that. And it's basically just folks going out and collecting things. This is a photo of Lawrence Huey. So now we go out and we collect pictures of things. In the past, they used to actually go out and collect things, but we've learned that that's really not a good thing to do for the most part. In big groups of things, we just want to take pictures. But this person, Lawrence Huey, just really loved learning about San Diego and the plants and birds and mammals here, and just started studying about it and going and exploring nature, and then became the curator of birds and mammals at the museum. So the main scientist in charge of all of the stuff at the museum, which is really, really cool. And yeah, this is a really old picture from like I think maybe the 1920s is when it would have been in San Diego, which is really neat. And today it's way easier for people to get involved because now we have technology. And so technology makes it super easy. You can join the NAT on iNaturalist. We have all sorts of projects on there that are happening all the time. It's super easy to take part. All you have to do is get outside and find wildlife. So anything like a weed growing on the sidewalk is wildlife. That's a wild plant because nobody planted it there. Or the spider in your bathroom is wildlife because you didn't put it there. Birds flying by. So you don't necessarily have to go out and go hiking. You can do it right outside your house, and even inside your house. You can find wild plants and animals, especially like the little insects I just talked about. So you just get outside, go look, find wildlife, take a picture of it. You can use a camera or a phone or like a tablet, and then share what you found, share your pictures on iNaturalist. And we have so much, we have all sorts of tutorials online already of how to get started and resources, and we'll share links to that as well. So we won't go into that here. We're just going to tell you about a couple projects you can get involved in. Anywhere in San Diego County is where you want to take part. We have a project called the Border BioBlitz that's happening right now, April 1st through May 2nd. You just get outside in the county and take photos of wild plants and animals and share them on iNaturalist. And this is because in San Diego, we're we're in close proximity to, we share a border with Mexico. And so we want to know what's going on both sides of the border, what's living here. We also have this fun thing coming up next weekend called the City Nature Challenge. It's April 29th through May 2nd. You can do that anywhere in San Diego County. If you're not in San Diego County, you can also visit their website. Just search citynaturechallenge.org. And you'll find if your location is participating. This is a competition of people across the world, cities and counties all across the world. That are going to go out and see who can find the most wildlife, so who can find the most plants and animals over these 4 days at the end of the month and help us document Earth. And then, so it's Earth Month. How do you plan to celebrate Earth? Can you guys share with us how you plan to celebrate Earth after learning about all these different things you can do and participate in? You can share in the chat. I think some of the original ideas of doing cleanups is great. I know that in San Diego, there's the creek to bay cleanup this weekend, I think, with I Love a Clean San Diego.
Yeah, there is.
Where you can go and help. I see somebody wants to plant trees, which is wonderful. Saving water and planting flowers, save energy for today. Watering my flower garden for butterflies. Oh, I love that. Bird food. I would also love, does anybody have any questions about things they can do or how to take part, or just anything they want to share about why they love the earth? Planting in my garden and growing caterpillars. Growing caterpillars is great.
Ooh, maybe really try important. A butterfly garden. That would be even cool to plant, like make a garden at your school if you're
yeah, definitely. Oh, and I see somebody named Eddie. So I was just suggesting that a butterfly garden. Recycling is always a huge, huge help. Oh, yep. Not letting balloons go up in the air because sea turtles end up eating balloons thinking they're jellyfish. That's so true. I actually lost power to my house earlier this week because a balloon hit a power line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's also not a fun thing, not a safe thing. Oh, and I see somebody named Charles saying the earth is unique, and it is. It truly is really unique. Butterfly garden. Does anybody have any questions about what we talked about?
Jack
about community science?
So Jack asked, what are the best plants for butterflies?
Oh, that's a great question. And that kind of depends on where you live. You want to find plants that are going to help butterflies wherever you're living, the butterflies that are found there, because butterflies can be real picky. I'm sure you all have heard about monarchs. And monarch butterflies have a very specific plant they like their young need to eat, their little caterpillars need to eat, called milkweed. So a great place to look for more resources on that is the California Native Plant Society. If you're in California, you can enter in your address and it will actually suggest plants for you that are good for insects in your area. Oh, my dogs are barking. And then you can usually, sorry, what's that? Okay, the male person's coming. You can usually find those at local gardens, but California Native Plant Society, yeah, definitely look there if you're looking to find local plants that are good for insects in your area. Ooh. Oh, good. Yeah, milkweed, good for caterpillars, definitely. And there are different kinds of milkweed. So when you go to the nursery, you want to get a native milkweed. So a milkweed that's already found in California. Some nurseries will sell tropical milkweed, and you don't want to get tropical milkweed. So that can be really complicated. But if you go to the nursery and just tell them, I don't want tropical milkweed, I want native milkweed, they should be able to help you. But it can be hard, sometimes trying to do the right thing for Earth can be kind of confusing. But there's all sorts of great resources online to help you with that. The NAT has a number of great resources online too. If you play around on our website, and you can learn about different community science projects to get involved in. I'm just reading chat. It says missing it's Earth's birthday, which is so nice. Are there any more questions? Oh, and I see that we shared the link there. Thanks for the community science project. So if you follow that link, there's also a link to all sorts of events that are happening around San Diego County next weekend for the City Nature Challenge. So you can, all sorts of hikes you can take part in, bio blitzes where you're going out with scientists and looking at all the different plants and animals, and they're helping you identify them and find what's where. There's one at Cabrillo National Monument, which will be really fun. There's one in Julian. There are a couple in our South Bay area with San Diego Audubon. So check out on our website, that community science tab, and the City Nature Challenge will show you all sorts of fun things you can do to take part in and help celebrate the Earth.
So we have one question that asks, why do butterflies look like they have eyes on their wings? We're talking about planting gardens for butterflies, but some of the butterflies we see look like they have eyes on their wings, which is pretty interesting.
That is a great question. And I feel like there could be so many answers to that question. I know a lot of times, like, the eyes are to distract predators, kind of scare them off, so they look a little bit bigger than they are, or perhaps they look like something that instead of being, a bird would want to eat, a bird would be scared of. So they might want to throw off things that are going to eat them. Do you know, Miss Haley? Are they also like camouflage or?
So yeah, the two biggest things I know about butterflies, specifically for the ones and the moths that have spots on their wings, is for scaring off predators. And then sometimes it does help camouflage. Sometimes those kind of eye spots might look like a knot in wood. So if they are sitting on like a branch, they can blend in pretty well. So those would be my top two answers for that question.
Very cool. And you can also go, there's a website called BugNet. I think it's .com. And they have a lot of great resources for insects and butterflies and things like that. Any more questions?
One more.
Okay.
So how do plants grow?
Oh, that's complicated. But that is a really cool question, actually. That is a really great question, especially when we're talking about planting all these plants. So plants need a lot of the right conditions to grow. You're going to want to have the right soil, so dirt for them to grow in. It needs to be healthy. There are certain plants that make seeds. So like if you ever eat a watermelon and you're spitting out those little black things, those are seeds. And so if you have a plant seed, you can put it in the ground, water it, get that water in there because it needs water to grow. And then also most plants need sunlight to grow, right? So that's how they make their food, is from the sun, which is pretty amazing. They're able to turn the sun into food and grow. So you need a couple things. It's kind of a really nice balance of things: sunlight, water, the right earth that they're growing in to make them grow. And then you just kind of cross your fingers and take care of them. Hope different things don't eat them. Like in that one picture where you saw they had the white kind of like cones around all those plants they were planting. That's to keep little like bunnies and deer from eating them before they get too big, so that they can actually grow and get big, because otherwise animals can eat them up and then they might disappear. Do you have anything to add to that, Miss Haley? I know that there's a lot that goes into how plants grow.
Yeah, I would say you did a great job explaining, and for more resources, I'm sure you'll learn about how plants grow in your classes as you get older, and hopefully even get a chance, like Aiden shared in the chat, that their class is growing sunflowers in their science class. So you might even get a chance to grow some plants in some of your classes.
How fun. Yeah, plants are kind of like people in that they need sunlight and food and the right surroundings to be healthy and grow.
Ooh, there's a follow-up question of how do the plants protect themselves? And I think this is a really interesting one because there's
Mm-hmm.
a variety of ways. One of the biggest ways is a lot of our plants, especially here in San Diego and in California, they have a scent to them. And that scent actually is to deter animals or herbivores from eating them. So to us, they smell good. But if you were to eat them, they would taste really bitter. And so that helps keep animals like deer and other like rabbits from eating them, which is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Other plants have like spikes on them, right? And so that also
Yeah,
keeps animals from eating them,
right.
which is
What
pretty
about like a
cool.
cactus? Mm-hmm. Definitely don't want to mess with a cactus. And I know that in other parts of the world too, some of the plants that we use as spices, that's partially why they have the flavors that they do, was originally to deter things from eating them, which is really, really cool. Think about like cinnamon and things like that, cilantro, lemongrass. And I know like lemongrass, you're supposed to be able to plant it, and citronella is a plant too. Sometimes people plant those to keep mosquitoes away because the smell, mosquitoes don't like that smell. Um, so we're getting all sorts of really great questions here, and we are getting close to our time. Oh, somebody says they grow a chamomile plant indoors. That's so cool. Why do snakes eat other snakes? That's a great question. I don't know. I would say that's like, why did the chicken cross the road? Just because it could? Do you know, Miss Haley, if there's a specific reason, or are snakes just, a lot of snakes are just kind of trying to eat whatever they can?
Yeah, just some snakes have adapted to eating other snakes. Maybe that's the only thing around them that they can catch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And these are so many great questions. It makes me think we should just do a program that's just like questions.
What
Questions about,
questions do you have about natural history and about
yeah,
animals?
because there's so many things out there. And I will say that there are a lot of great resources if you do search online with a parent or guardian or your teachers. You can find all sorts of great information out there that will also help inform you. But the earth is very complex. It's very complicated and there's a lot going on there. So there's always more to learn. So you could probably spend your whole life studying it and never even get to the tip of the iceberg. You can come visit us at the museum. That's a great way to learn more about the earth and what's going on at the earth, especially in San Diego and Southern California and Baja California. We focus on that. We focus on life, things living right now, but also things that have gone extinct, fossil life. So whales that used to be here, dinosaurs, things like that. So there's never, you will never reach the end of learning about Earth once you start. And that's also why we need your help. We need your help to keep teaching us about Earth as well, and exploring and sharing what you find with us. So please do that. Take your pictures, share them on iNaturalist, and help us learn about Earth, because you guys can help us learn a lot. And I think with that, if there's no other pressing questions, we do have another program next month where we're going to be talking about our new exhibit, which is all about Baja California. So that is south of the border here, the whole peninsula, this big, long area that we call Baja California. And there's an exhibit on it that we're opening at the museum. And we're going to talk to one of the people who helped work on the exhibit. And we're going to learn about what does it take to build an exhibit, because a lot goes into it. There's years and years of work before we ever even see anything that they've already been doing, which is super cool. And it's also a neat job to learn about, because it's one I didn't know about until I started working at museums, was that, wow, you could actually like design an exhibit which
Yeah.
is super cool. So we're going to talk to our exhibits team and learn more about that and how they use art and combine it with science to make some very, very cool experiences for us here at the museum. So with that, there's a RSVP link in the chat, and I will just say thanks so much for joining us, everybody. I had a lot of fun. I hope you're able to get outside and enjoy Earth Month and Community Science Month. And even if you can't get outside, if you have a computer, you can go on your computer and explore that way through community science and help science that way and help the Earth. So thanks, everybody.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. Bye.